Yeah, hello. I'm Peter Watkins, and with some of my family and friends, we're here in GRUTO Park, which is about 2 hours' drive south of Vilnius in Lithuania. It's actually a very evocative and rather strange sort of theme park we're in, as you will have probably seen by some of the images. A local entrepreneur here went round the backyards of Vilnius some few years ago, collecting together all the statues of Lenin, Marx and the other merry band that he could find, and brought them out to this swampland in the south of Lithuania and constructed a theme park to the Soviet period. Not all Lithuanians like the idea of this. To some, of course, since Lithuania was an enforced member state of the Soviet Union until 1991, to a number of Lithuanians it is a disaster to, as they see it, put these statues of these murderers in a sylvan setting with birds twittering and trees. But I think probably to others in this country, I hope, and I'm sure there are others who see this as a possibility to really reflect on, well, on many things, but certainly on man's unbelievable folly and inhumanity, and I suppose the endless repetition, sadly, of history, because this is a theme park to the Soviet Union. It is quite likely, maybe not here, but in another area in Lithuania or anywhere else in Europe in the next few years, hopefully, there'll be a theme park to globalization with its pathetic relics littered around, and people looking at these with perhaps as much amusement as they look at this stuff here. And this Soviet system, as you all know, of course, was held in place by an extremely efficient system of terror, propaganda, complicity, power, fear, etc., etc., held in place by an incredible system of terror. Now, what about the system we're living through today, which is certainly can be labelled one which is as stupid as the Soviet system. The Soviet system took the lives of countless millions of people, and so today is globalization, taking the lives of many people by neglect, exploitation. You know as well as I what is happening. And what holds this system in place today? In this theme park, in a few years' time, if there's a theme park to globalization, what will be here? There probably won't be statues of Marx and Lenin. There'll be advertising banners for McDonald's and shop windows full of about 55 highly coloured plastic mobile telephones, and there will certainly be a television set, certainly up on a very big plinth, because I think, at least I hope, that very few of us today doubt that the system today we live in, which I keep calling globalization, you can call it neoliberal market, whatever you want, blah blah, I'll call it globalization, is being held in power by not the same system of terror quite, at least not in our comfortable European society, but it is being held in place by the mass media, constantly propagating, constantly encouraging, constantly insinuating us to maintain and ever develop the consumer society, and it's doing it in all kinds of subtle, insidious ways, and evidently, because of the passivity of most of us, that most of us are manifesting, it's working very well. And we're engaging, in a sense, in part of that process. I mean, I'm speaking to you, excuse me for doing this, but maybe we can at least use it to look at the hierarchical process I'm using to speak to you, from me to you. I don't know where you'll be seeing this, but I imagine possibly, maybe on a television set. I sincerely hope not, but it may be the case, but certainly maybe in a cinema or somewhere, or in a schoolroom, and you'll be sitting looking at me. But it's not communication. We call this mass communication. It has nothing to do with communication. Communication, check in the dictionary if you don't believe me, is a two-way living process, a give and exchange. A mass communication, so-called, has nothing to do with real communication at all. It is a systematically organized, one-way path from the producer to the spectator. Constantly. And that is not communication. We should try and find some other word for it. And it's certainly manipulation. And it's certainly a hierarchical process. And I'm doing it to you. But at least I'm trying to talk about it. Doesn't ultimately change the fact that this is a hierarchical process. And this, forgive my sort of preamble, but I think this theme park does help us to sense the question of history. We are in history today, even if growing numbers of people, especially unfortunately young people, are losing or never even discovering what history is. We are a part of history. History is an ongoing, flowing process.